Good morning, y'all. Today I am here at the hometown of the legendary Joe Louis, LaFayette, Alabama. Now I want to call it Lafayette, but if you call it Lafayette, you get corrected pretty quickly by the locals. So I hope y'all will stick around, go with me as we walk and talk a little bit, and hopefully we'll have a good time. Y'all come on and go with me. Here on what was the town square is the statue dedicated to the memory of Joe Louis. And he was world champion from 1937 to 1949. That's a 12-year stretch that is still unmatched today. He still holds the record for the longest heavyweight champion. Now, Joe Louis defended his title in 25 bouts and won all 25, which is an amazing feat. This statue is here by the Chambers County Courthouse, which in itself, this is an amazing, this is a phenomenal building. It is something else. Now, this is not the original courthouse. Originally, a log courthouse was built in 1833. It was replaced by a brick structure in 1837 and used until the present courthouse was erected in 1899. So this courthouse right here was built in 1899. This building is well over 100 years old, actually 127 years old, to be exact. Memorial here to the Chambers County veterans who lost their lives in World War II. It's an early Sunday morning, and I like to do my videos fairly early in the morning because usually there's a lot less traffic and it's a lot less noisy, a lot less distraction. But not here in Lafayette. This is a busy little town with a street. I don't know if it's just because that this road is a main road between 2 points, but it is constant traffic here. Lafayette, like a lot of these old towns, still has the original buildings here along the main street. They still stand here as they did for well over 100 years. That one is now just a shell of a building, but a lot of them here are still being used. That one is the Lafayette Sun, the newspaper. One thing I really like about this town and the buildings here are these grand entrances. Most of them on the other street are indented, and have these massive tall doors, which is just beautiful to me. The street down here, we'll walk down in a minute and I'll show you, but it's just the way it's designed. I love the way it's made. I think that's probably somebody lives above that building right there in the top second story of that building. Now check out these glass on the sidewalks here. That's something you never see anymore. Years ago I was working in an old building and had to go down in the basement, and there were some of those on the sidewalk, and I guess the purpose of those is to provide light down into the basement, because when these buildings were built, most of them were pre-electricity. So during the day, it would be pitch black down there, but the light was shining through that glass, and it was just like you had lights on down there. That's a beautiful building right there. Love that. Got Tucker Brothers Hardware. Got some plants out there. It's getting that time of year. It's getting warm. A little chilly today, but it's getting warm. About time to start putting out some plants. Across the street here we have what once appears to be an old movie theater. It's got a sign that says work in progress. That sign looks like it's been a work in progress for a long time. The building right there has a sign on top of it that says Langley's 1901. I don't know what Langley's was, but right now it's different businesses in this building. Let's cross the street and take a look at it. Now, this is what I was talking about. The way these buildings are made, they all have the indented entrance with these massive doors. That's like almost around 9 or 10 feet on the doors. But I love these entrances on these buildings. I love these doors, the way they're designed, the way they're made, and these grand entrances with these high windows and the overhang. Just something about it is sort of inviting. Something that's kind of lost today. You don't see this kind of stuff today, but it just kind of draws you into it. It does me anyway. I love to see that. It kind of, the way it's made, it just pulls you in. I think all of these doors and these windows, I don't know about the glass. It doesn't look like it. Maybe it's not quite as old as the building, but a lot of that I think is original. And here we got the sheriff's office. Now this looks like, these windows look like an old school building to me. That's the kind of windows we had in our school. Anyway, that's just what that looks like. I don't know if it was ever a school building or not, but that's what it looks like. There's another shot of the courthouse here from another angle. Take a look at these row of buildings here. They look like something out of it just looks like an old western town, you know, you see in the movies. That's what it looks like to me. It's just like something from way back. It is from way back when, but it looks like it's from, you know, you can just imagine horses and wagons pulling up out here. And it looks, even though it's more modern businesses here, it still has the old character and the old design. Look up top at that. Stuff like that I love. And another thing I love, and I don't know why, is I love these overhangs. I wish we still had that today, because when you're out walking and shopping or whatever, you know, you're out exposed in the element. It gets hot, you're exposed to the rain. What's that? I can't pronounce that. Schussler Building, 1895. I think that's Schussler. I don't know if y'all can see that. Y'all tell me, but I think it's Schussler Building. But here again, you got the indented store fronts with the tall doors. It just says, come inside, see what we have. Here we got two businesses, a door on each side, but all of these are kind of the same way. This entire street is made this way. This row of buildings, they all have the indented and the old light fixture, and this still has the tongue and groove, and it has the old tin ceiling. And I know that's probably from the early 1900s. That's probably the original tin ceiling. Here we have a mural. Welcome to LaFayette, Alabama. Now LaFayette was named after Marquis LaFayette, but the name was changed. I think a newspaper editor suggested changing the spelling, and it was changed to LaFayette. When I first moved here, I called it Lafayette, and like I said, I got corrected pretty quickly. I got laughed at and said it's not Lafayette, it's LaFayette. So I still make that mistake from time to time. I still call it Lafayette, but like I said, they will correct you. It's Lafayette, Alabama. And like I said, this is the hometown of Joe Louis. Joe Louis was an amazing boxer. He, like I said, he still holds the record for the longest heavyweight champion, and that's an amazing feat, from being champion until his retirement in 1949, and almost 100 years later, not quite, but almost 100 years later, he still holds that record. He had an amazing career, but he also had some struggles in life. Later in life, he struggled with mental health issues and drug addiction, and he had problems with the IRS. You know, so none of us are immune to struggles in life. We got a nice church up here I want to take a look at. It is Sunday morning, so church services probably will be starting soon. I don't want to be standing outside filming when they're having church, but we will take a look at it real quick. And there's another one down the street that looks like a castle. Definitely want to get a shot of that one. There's an old train depot also here. I'm gonna go look at that. Old service station. I don't know if it's being used anymore. Those old bay doors haven't been opened in a long time. They're about rotted away. Let's go take a look at this church real quick, and then we'll walk down the street, take a look at the other church, then we're running down there and take a look at the old railroad depot. And this is the First Baptist Church. That's a pretty phenomenal building. It says organized May 21st, 1834. I don't know what the date on the building is itself, but probably mid 1800s, early 1900s, I would imagine. Let's take a walk down the street. It's a good little distance down here, so I turn the camera off while I walk down here. We'll take a look at this other church, and then we'll run down the street and look at the railroad depot. It's a little quieter down there. Now, this is the church I was talking about. It gives off castle vibes. It's made up top. Just look at this old church. I don't know what year it was built. I don't know. Let's see if there's any kind of marking or sign or anything. But you're talking about a grand, beautiful church. Now this is it. You know, churches in these small towns like this, they are some of the most elaborate buildings. They stand out. I don't know if just a lot of effort and money was spent on the church, because that's where the people came and gathered, and that was the central meeting place at the time. But they are just, a lot of these small towns have the most grandiose churches, and just the most amazing, magnificent buildings. And this one definitely does not disappoint in being a phenomenal building. I mean, that is something else. Let's see. It looks like there's a marker here, or a stone that has a date on it. Let's see what it says. Emmy Church South, 1914. F.L. Aldridge, pastor. So this building was built in 1914. So that makes it roughly what, 113, around 112, 113 years old. I would love to see the inside. I can only imagine how that looks. Anyway, there are a lot of beautiful homes here too along the street. A lot of antebellum style houses with the huge columns, and I can only imagine what it was like for Joe Louis growing up here in the early 1900s in rural Alabama. Well, I can't even imagine, to tell you the truth, but I have no way to have an understanding. And for him to achieve the greatness and the fame that he achieved, and the legacy that he has, which sadly, you know, he was largely forgotten later in life. And like I said, he had a lot of IRS problems, suffered with mental issues, as a lot of us do. Mental health issues are they're nothing to be ashamed of. They can affect anybody, anytime, any walk of life. It doesn't matter. You're wealthy, poor, famous, nobody knows who you are. It doesn't matter. You know, mental health issues are something that a lot of us struggle with. I myself have struggled with depression my whole life, and have learned to, I'm not going to say control it, because you can never control it, but have learned to deal with it a lot better later in life. And I'm so grateful that I have, because so many people succumb to depression and other, you know, mental health challenges. So I'm just grateful that I was able to learn to deal with it in a positive way. As soon as we get down the street here to the old railroad depot, I'll tell you a couple things that I do to help deal with depression. But anyway, let's take a look around the town here just one more time. I'm heading back up to my car. I'm going to drive down to the railroad depot. I probably need to walk. It wouldn't hurt me to walk. I need to get the exercise. That's one good thing about doing videos. I get exercise that I don't normally get. I get out and walk and walk and walk. And that's another positive thing. You know, I really like doing these videos. I enjoy it. It gets me out. It gets me to places like LaFayette. I see things that I normally would not see. And I just really enjoy it. I really enjoy doing these videos. I really enjoy putting them out. I even enjoy the editing. I may not be the best at it. I may not be a great editor, but I enjoy doing it. I enjoy trying to make something that I hope that people enjoy and they'll watch. It also kind of puts yourself out there in a way that you don't normally do, and it puts you in a kind of an uncomfortable situation, which I think is good. I think we need to be uncomfortable sometimes. Now, this is the old railroad depot. It says Chambers County Museum, founded in 1977 for touring call, and it has a number there, but I don't think this old building has been toured in a very long time. It looks like it's in quite a state of disrepair. So I don't think that this actually is a functioning museum any longer. But the building is still here, and at least we get an opportunity to take a look at it. And the old railroad signal here. I would assume that the tracks came right through here. And there's an old railroad caboose up there, and it looks like a ferry. We'll take a look at those as well. Yeah, I think that would have been where the ticket agent sat, because the building protrudes here and he could look. Yeah, the tracks would have been up and down here, because that was where he would have sat, and he can look up and down the tracks in both directions. So yeah, this would have been the track side, and the old doors for the freight, where the freight would be loaded and unloaded. And you can see the old knob and tube electrical connectors up there, where electric wires at one point would have been added and ran across. Yeah, this building has a lot of rot and kind of falling apart, it looks like, which is a shame. But the building itself is brick, so it's holding up pretty well. And all the old railroad depots had these protruding overhangs And there were several reasons for that. I finally looked it up as to why. They're all made the same. It was to protect, freight and mail, and also usually there was not a large waiting area for the passengers of the train, so it would give them somewhere to stand to be out of the elements, rain, snow, out of the sun, whatever. Yeah, Mother Nature is reclaiming this old depot. Those vines will do a lot of damage to wood and to brick because they get in every crevice and will cause moisture to get in and spread and just do a lot of damage. So when you see vines growing up like that, that just tells you that's a sign that it's not really being maintained, and those vines will cause a lot of rot. Now this old deck back here as well, it's another thing that tells me that it's not a functioning museum any longer, because that is a death trap and a hazard right there. It wouldn't be allowed to be that way. Let's see, let's take a look at this old caboose here. This old caboose, another thing that's, you can tell it's not being maintained. The old steps are in bad shape. Just looking at the caboose itself, it looks bad. Let's see if I can haul my fat behind up here. It looks like a window is busted out here, so we can actually take a look on the inside. I'm gonna stick my camera inside here. Hopefully I don't drop it. That would be bad. I better not do that, because I dropped my camera. I'd be sad. There's the old bathroom right there. Sign says, "Do not throw rags, paper towels, or foreign objects in the toilet. Do not pry on toilet bowl flapper." I guess people have been throwing foreign objects in the toilet for a long time. Now this is Bibby's Ferry, 1839 to 1982. This vehicle replaced wooden boats used until 1946. Bibby's, the longest operated of 12 ferries in Chambers County. It was in operation until 1946. Now this old ferry has seen a lot of forms of transportation. It would have seen horses and wagons, and some of the first automobiles would have rolled up on this old ferry. That's quite a piece of history right there. There's something else. And the old paddle wheels still turn freely. That's kind of surprising. I was talking about depression earlier, and I said I would tell you a couple things that have helped me to deal with it over the years, and I'm not going to say overcome it, because I don't think you ever overcome it, but help you deal with it. Now, I'm not offering any kind of medical advice or any kind of advice. This is just what has helped me over the years. Two things that have helped me. One is talk to somebody. Don't deal with it on your own. Don't try to deal with it on your own, because when you're in that state, you are not in a rational frame of mind, and even though you think you got it under control or you can deal with it, too many people just succumb to those feelings. And talk to somebody. If you can talk to a medical professional, that's great. If you can't, just talk to somebody that you trust, that you love. People may not really understand what you're going through. They may not be able to say, they may not give the best advice, but that's not the point. The point is just to talk to somebody. And that way you're not, I always tried to conceal it. I always tried to hide it, tried to make jokes about myself and that sort of thing. And that's the way I dealt with it, or thought that I was dealing with it. But all I was doing was perpetuating those same feelings that I was thinking, those things that I was thinking in my mind and the way I felt, by saying them and making fun of myself and doing it as a joking way. I'm just perpetuating that, and actually it grew and grew and grew. And eventually I just started to tell people, because they don't know what's going on. And I just started to, I'm depressed. I said, what are you depressed about? I don't know. I don't know why I'm depressed. I don't know what I'm depressed about. I'm just depressed. And just the fact, the act of saying it out loud helped me a lot. And the second thing, which seems a little, maybe a little cliche or something you hear a lot, but you're going to have a lot of negative thoughts. And for every negative thought or 2 or 3 negative thoughts you have, interject a positive thought. And believe it or not, say something good about yourself, something positive, somebody that you love, something that's good about the things you do. And over time, those good thoughts will start to take root, take hold, and they'll start to overcome the negative thoughts. Those are 2 things that have really helped me over the years. And I still suffer with it a little bit. I still deal with it, but nowhere near the level that I did when I was younger. That's just a couple things. If that helps one person, I'm happy. It's like I say, it's not advice. It's not any kind of this is what you need to do. I don't know. For everybody, it's different. But for me, that's what has helped me. Well, that's going to just about do it for today's video. We'll finish up right here where we started in the town square by the statue of the great Joe Louis, who, although had a wonderful career, enjoyed a lot of wealth, also struggled with other issues in life, as we all do. But I hope you enjoyed seeing Joe Louis's hometown, and hope I haven't bored you too much. But until next time, I'm Red. Keep exploring and be happy in life. Enjoy your life as much as you can. We only get one. And y'all have a great day. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks a lot.